Alright, let's do the pre-flight check. Audio input, capture. Good. Camera 1. It's a go. Big head. Intact. Charts. Alright, back to big head. We are a go, folks. How you doing? It is Friday. I can't believe it's Friday already. October 4th. October 4th would be the day before my birthday. It would also be the day before PatternCast becomes 1 year old. That's right. And if you're hearing a buzz in the background, I think that's my wife vacuuming upstairs. Very timely. Anywho, 1 year of PatternCast in operation. PatternCast, well, we started with futures, forex, and stocks, and then this summer we started up with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is all the buzz right now, at least with PatternCast. It has been off the hook a great system. Now we're currently in the middle of a trade, and that is right here. Oh, thank you. She closed the door. And you can see it's going up, but let me show you what the particulars of this trade are. The entry point on this trade was a long entry at $8,065. And as you can see, we dipped down, broke the entry. Now this trade was actually issued last night, and then it broke this morning. We have a target. The target on this trade is $7,980. I'm sorry, no, that's not right. It is $8,480, I believe. It should be, yeah. It should be 4,000. Or sorry, 8,480. Let's just check that for sure, just to make sure that I have that exactly right. There we are. $8,455. Make sure that, yep, that's set there. There we go. So we've already come up to as high as 8,230. So we're approximately halfway there. A little less than halfway there. The previous entry the previous trade that we had the day before yesterday was, let me see, I have actually a graphic that will show that. Previous entry was really a spot-on entry, and like a laser beam, well, that's pretty much how PatternCast is all the time. It picks entries that seem to be prescient and just perfect targets. And yeah, that's this one here. Hold on, bringing that over. So this was yesterday's trade. Yep. There we go. So here was yesterday's trade. Had an entry of $8,381, and it came all the way down to about $8,040, and then started to retrace. in the meantime, so that was about 70% of the target. In the meantime, we got another signal, and generally what we do with new signals is we take those on. So what you would have done is you would have set up your, to simultaneously get out of that trade and then get into this trade. So had you done that, you would have entered at 8,065. Interestingly enough, it went down almost exactly to the target of 7,980. It just went, I think, $10 short of that. So that really shows the, PatternCast, what it does is when it looks at any of these trades, it doesn't anticipate the trade coming, so it can't. It just knows that at some point it's going to come down and hit that target. So there was another laser beam entry. So there are two trades in a row, and of course this is very similar to the trade that we had in terms of being a laser beam entry. Very, very similar to the trade that we had last week. And I can show that to you. Hold on. Right, this one here. This was the big drop that we had last week. Just to give you an idea of how PatternCast really just nails these trades. And we had another trade in between here, two trades actually that were winners too. But the big drop last week, I know there were a lot of people that were saying the market was going to drop. I mean, that was their overall thing. They didn't know when or whatever. But PatternCast calls it the day of the drop, and then to the actual, almost to the dollar of where it would start to fall. So our call for that day, let's see if I can then bring up the actual email. So here's a screenshot of the actual signal that was sent out via email. And you can see when it happened. Sell at 9338, cover at 8364. This was a relatively rare signal, but highly effective. Now, it was 4 out of 4. Now it's 5 out of 4, obviously. And you can see here on this is, I believe, a 5-minute chart. You can see just how accurate that signal was. I mean, precisely where we said that it would start dropping it is where it started dropping at 9. That's what this red line is here, 9338. And then the target of 8,364, if you look at this very closely, it is approximately the mean average. If you were to spread this out, this would be the mean average of where it's eventually settled into. I don't know how much more effective you can get for a signal service. That was just absolutely incredible. So far, since we've opened the service for Bitcoin, for PatternCast for Bitcoin, this summer, we've had, and this isn't counting the current trade that we're in, which is already positive. Let me just show you that one. And that is this trade right here. And we're on our way to another winner. This will actually make, it's already positive, so one could argue that, hey, I'll take profits here. But we're looking for about a 400-point move up to here, 8,455. This trade here will make 20 out of 22 trades. There were two losers. I wouldn't even call them losers. I would call them they didn't really do anything. They didn't really lose a lot. They didn't go against us. They just did nothing. The market went sideways. So really what we're talking about here are 20 out of 22 winning trades with huge gains, probably on average of about $600 per. So what we're talking about there is a 91 percentile win rate with an incredible return on capital. So that's PatternCast so far. Now, you might be saying, "Oh, yeah, you're on a hot streak, Ernie. How much longer can this go on?" And being a systems trader, I would have to agree with you. Yes, we're on a hot streak. And these streaks, none of them last forever. We don't know when it will stop, or if we'll have a few losers in a row, or how that will happen. All I can go by is what we've done in the past and how PatternCast has acted in the past. And if we were to take our other service where we trade the traditional markets, so the regular PatternCast, we trade Forex, futures, and stocks in there. We've had, I think it's up to about 335 trades. And that has an 85% win rate. All right. And similar in terms of the return on cap. Actually, the Bitcoin is actually a better return on capital. And we attribute that to the higher volatility of Bitcoin versus traditional markets. So, and also, we look at the win rate as probably being more indicative of the fact that Bitcoin is a 24/7 asset, as opposed to futures and stocks, which have downtime. And so PatternCast doesn't get like the continuity of the stream to be able to evaluate, where Bitcoin it does. And not only that, the way we do it with Bitcoin is we actually aggregate many different exchanges. We don't rely on any one individual exchange. We aggregate several exchanges and find an aggregate normalized view of Bitcoin across several of the major exchanges. And for that reason, we find, I guess you could say, a mean price that anybody can trade regardless of what exchange you're on. It will be very close to your price. It will be somewhere near it. And so that's turned out to be extremely effective. The prices that I've been showing you online here are actually Kraken. And Kraken actually isn't in that aggregate. However, that's just to prove the point that even with Kraken, even though the 6 or 7 exchanges that we aggregate are not Kraken, using PatternCast for Bitcoin works across multiple exchanges. And that is significant. So let's see. Rajdat says, "What's up, Ernie? Going to sign up. Hope you're not swindling." Well, I've been doing this for a long time, for a year now, and we have 300 members. We haven't done any real serious advertising yet. All of their reviews are right online for you to see, so you can check that out. Mituman, when 6K? Geez, I don't know. PatternCast doesn't do any long-term projections, although we are working on a version of PatternCast that goes out beyond the swing trading and will actually allow you to do position trading. So when we introduce that, that'll be very cool. Coco's saying, "Can you talk about..." here, I got to get the big head here. Big head. Can you talk about what we can do and not do with the affiliate program? I have not read the terms of service yet. Well, with the affiliate program, you essentially get your own link. And with that link, you can give it to anybody. And that link will direct them back to PatternCast, so that when they navigate the PatternCast, it will set a cookie so that it'll know who they are and reference back to you. So regardless of what they buy, once they come to the site, because they came there with your link, you will get credited for the sale. Just so you know. Yeah, there is an affiliate program, and the affiliate program is actually quite generous. It pays 33% of whatever it is, and including recurring revenue. So if you sold somebody or you referred to somebody to the service, and then they took on a monthly subscription, then you would get paid. Well, I believe it requires it to total up to $100, but I'm not sure. But you get paid on a monthly basis. Same thing if you did quarterly or yearly. So DWO111 says is really interested in the futures and stock signals. They are fantastic. They, I mean, it's almost mind-boggling just how good PatternCast is. Coco says, can we disclose trades? Can we advertise AdSense, for example? Oh, sure. You can do it after the trade has already been announced. You can certainly disclose the trade. What we won't allow you to do is to resell the trades, obviously. But certainly you can disclose the trades. Are we allowed to post your signals in terms of recruiting new members? Yes. You can repost after the fact. See, here's the deal. PatternCast signals are good for one day. So if they trigger in that day, then that means then people will get into the trade. In other words, if it hits its entry or above or below, whatever the entry is, if it hits it, then it's good. And then we give it up to 4 days. Once it's triggered, we don't care. I mean, you can post them after that fact or the next day. Really don't care. Then you're not really taking away from existing members who have paid for the service, etc. Now, occasionally I will put them out as we get the signals, but that's me. I'm really the only one that's allowed to do that. So I can put out the signal prior to it actually triggering. Anybody, one of our affiliates, can put a signal out after it is already triggered. So, yeah, that would be very interesting. Sure. And you can demonstrate all you want the PatternCast signals. Here's the real deal for people who are new to trading, who are experienced traders. It really doesn't matter. If you're experienced, new, professional, newbie, it doesn't matter. PatternCast gives you an edge. It gives you a very, very strong edge, and it takes away the need for trying to go through all of that analysis and setup and wondering whether or not this is a good entry point or exit. It provides that for you. So all you have to focus on is your money management and to manage the profits in the trade. In our traditional service, we give you a whole bunch of signals, and there's really not a whole lot of need to set stops for individual trades. What I would recommend is that people set stops for your portfolio and give trades a wide berth, and we found that works out best. That's it. People don't believe in hindsight posts. Well, that's fine. You could always show them your time-stamped email that shows when you got it, right? And then you can show after the fact. What I want to avoid is people then thinking that they can turn it into their own service and get out there and start reselling the service. But if you have a prospect and you want to share your screen while it's happening, I don't see that there's any problem with that. And you can certainly show them that. So hopefully that answers your question. I would prefer that that you show them as it. With that win rate, is it possible to make a living with PatternCast? Well, it's possible to make a living at anything. That really comes down to the individual, because some people are better at money management than others. Some make stupid mistakes. Other people are disciplined. And so that really comes down to the individual. There's no doubt that you have such a strong edge here that if you don't make money and if you have the proper mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, a trader's mindset, and you have appropriate capitalization, of course you could make money with this. So there's no doubt, but that's no guarantee that anybody can do it. That's like saying that, sure, anybody can play baseball, right? But do you have the aptitude to play baseball? And at what level? Can you play it at the amateur level? Or can you play it at the, and maybe another good example would be pool. Anybody can play pool, or 9-ball or 8-ball or whatever it is. And you can probably go to your local tournament and you'll gain a certain capability, right? Of course, the difference here is that with pool or baseball, it requires that you have that innate ability to be able to execute properly there, right? Here, you're given that already. All you have to do is follow through. So I guess that's the big difference. Things that require skill to actually execute the shot, and start it off. That's quite a bit different than you actually. It would be almost like what would be a good analogy for this? Forbid something happens to you or your partner, will the service be able to continue? Well, that would suck. We don't really think in those terms, Rajdat. So you're right. We both have access to the service, so if one or the other goes, then the other one can always maintain. So I really wouldn't worry about that. So we've thought about that. We have thought about that. Good questions. Very good questions. So anyways, we're on our way to our 20th winner. 20th winner in 45 days. So just to give you an idea of time frame. And this one here would be about 400 points. Now we don't know if it's going to reach up all the way up to the entry. Most do. About 65% of all triggered trades reach their entry their target or go beyond. 70% reach 70% of the entry or beyond. The average return on any trade, regardless of what it is, actually goes well beyond the target, 185% of the target on average. So what that means is that there are some trades that have huge outliers. Huge outliers. I mean, we have some that have, 400%, 500%, 1,500% of the target. So PatternCast is particularly good at picking off trades that end up being outlier trades. Now, what are the odds that you would get out at when it hits the target and not allow it to run? Well, that, again, would depend on your particular trading acumen. So what I would do in a case like that is I would scale in and scale out of positions so that when we're reaching a target, I would be taking profit, but I wouldn't be taking it all off the table, just in case something could run. And if it does start running, I'm going to let that thing run. So that would really, taking advantage of things like that would, and that's where some of the skill comes in. And we can certainly help you along with that, and that's partly what our private trade room is all about, where we can provide you a kind of mentoring or coaching on how to maybe, or strategies around how to manage your profits. Now, we're not saying that this is a class on how to do that, but there's lots of experienced PatternCast traders in there that can certainly provide you with insight in that regard. And we do have almost daily seminars where we talk about the trades or non-trades. Now here, when I say non-trades, you might be thinking, what are you talking about there, Ernie? I mean, here's something that is particularly awesome about PatternCast. Last week, you'll notice that at the tail end of that week and into the weekend, we were going sideways. And so you might be wondering, well, what happened with PatternCast then? Well, PatternCast still produced signals, but they were so outside of the bounds, or there was at least 2 days where we didn't produce any signals, or the signals were inconclusive, so we didn't put out a signal. We put out what we call a non-signal. PatternCast also will keep you out of bad situations, bad trades. Do we get commissions on referred affiliate affiliations? Just to know. Are you talking about multiple levels? If you're talking about multiple levels, no. There are no multiple levels here. So just like us, we only have one level. We're not looking for this is not a multi-level scheme at all. This is simply you finding affiliates or finding people that you refer the service to, and because you're an affiliate and refer that person, you get a commission, and a very healthy commission. It's 33%. That's really, I think that could be considered top end of what an affiliate commission structure might look like. So there are no multiple levels of affiliates. All right. So this is not a multi-level marketing, and it's certainly not a Ponzi. This is simply you refer somebody, we are grateful for that, and then we pay you a commission, and then that's it. What are the cloud server performance on those AI computations? I really have no idea what that means. What are the cloud server performance on those AI computations? Yeah, I really have no idea what that means. And even me, who happens to be a lifelong technologist who has done cloud computing or cloud services, I have no idea what you're talking about. But that's okay. All right. Where are we with this guy here? Let's look at tensor charts. I like tensor charts. It's a nice service. Looks like money's flowing in right now, at the moment. Back to the big head. Maybe the calculating power. Well, let me give you an idea, just so you can wrap your head around this. PatternCast, when it's evaluating any asset, whether it has 5 years of data or 20 or even 30 years of data, it is looking for patterns, and the patterns that it is looking for are things that it actually creates dynamically. And on any one pass of an asset, it can actually create dynamically, thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of individual patterns that it can then search for and recognize in the data. And it can literally search an asset that might have 30 years of data in just seconds, and then be able to tell whether or not the current conditions are a pattern that match past conditions, and then how many times that have matched. Not only how many times that has matched, but given that condition, whether or not if the price provide if-then scenarios, if it goes up or down in many different levels, many different striations, and then provide the ending result if that happens, if it were to hit this level and then go down. What's the resulting move? It can do all of that in just seconds. It can literally, well, let's say about 7 seconds. It could look at 30 years of data, hundreds of thousands of patterns, dozens and dozens of permutations once it finds a pattern that it recognizes or that it has identified, that has statistically recurred or has recurrence, and then all the resulting actions of that, and then report all that back to us in this sort of data dump. And from that, we provide, or we look at where's the sweet spot? Where do we get the highest win rate with the highest return on capital? And then that's what we report back. Now, in the future, we're going to provide a pro service where we'll provide all of that data. Instead of us just providing retail traders and our customers currently with the sweet spot, which we believe is the best opportunity. And for a pro trader, they could use that data in many different ways. That will be a completely different level to this service. But just imagine that, and essentially what it is doing is it is looking at all these patterns simultaneously. And that is the power of using cloud and being able to launch literally thousands and thousands of matrix calculations simultaneously, asynchronously, and then come back and then give us all that information immediately. So maybe that will answer your question in terms of the overall calculating power. Oh, looks like we're taking off here. Well, got a little push up. We'll see what happens. We are on our way. Yeah, in the big scheme of things, it's such a tiny little push. But already we're well off of the entry point and well on our way towards the target. Now, we're currently in this volume well here. So from a volume profile perspective, I would think that we would be moving. Now, this is only a localized volume well over the past couple of days, so it may not have that much significance. We would have to bring in a lot more data. Let's bring in an hourly chart just to see how that computes and see where we are in terms of that. So even on the hourly chart, we do have a minor volume well there. So there's a good chance that we'll move up to this level next relatively quickly. And then we have this bigger volume well up here. And if we enter into that, we may accelerate towards the target. So you can see that right there. So another very interesting thing about PatternCast, big head here. Another very interesting thing about PatternCast is that, and you know that I'm a big proponent of volume profile. We don't provide any volume profile information into PatternCast, yet it seems to find all of the ideal positions on a profile where you would find support resistance and where are the best places to take that trade. And so that's kind of remarkable. So for instance, you can see here the entry happened right on this very tiny little node here, which is kind of interesting, or in the midst of this volume well. And I don't know why it chose that, but it did. And where it's choosing the exit is on the edge of this profile, which is an ideal place to take profits. So, yeah, so I'm not sure how it does that, but it does. So, if you saw the thumbnail to this video, it says there's 2 days left. 2 days, and we have a special deal on PatternCast. Also, if you use the code CRYPTO, CRYPTO, you'll get additional money off on. So here, I'll put that out there. Use the code CRYPTO for $200 off the yearly subscription. So that'll bring it down to a price of $6.95 for a year, for an entire year. There's $100 off right now for another 2 days for the quarterly. And I noticed that a lot of people are choosing the quarterly subscription. And that seems like a good deal, especially if, you want to test it out. You got 3 months, $200 and something is no big deal. And then you get a feel for it. And I'll tell you what, this is what I'll do. If you do take the quarterly subscription in this time period, and then after that quarter you decide that you want to extend it to get the better price of the yearly, I won't give you the yearly price at that point. I'll give you the yearly price that we have right now. So that's even more incentive to get in right now. Now, so this will only be like our second promotion. We did the first one in August. We brought on 150 people. We're doing this one now. We have another 20 or 30 so far. I expect probably 100 or so that will come in. And really the purpose around that was to try to really get this service off to a good start, get a bunch of people in there, get them all, enthralled with the system. It's hard not to get enthralled with this system. Start understanding how it's used, get those testimonials out there, get people start talking about it in the hum, and then from that we're doing a lot of collaborations that will be coming up, as well as some we have a partnership with one of the largest brokers in the country, and we'll start doing webinars with them. Actually, those will start in the middle of this month. So that was the whole purpose of doing this. So you get the advantage of getting in now and taking advantage of us with this really low price, because the price is going up. The price is going up. And look at it this way: when the price goes up, if you're an affiliate coming in at a low price, you can then start selling this to your friends at a high price. They're going to believe you because you're referring. I would assume that you're referring friends of people that you know that they trust you, and they'll see your experience with this. It's going to be an easy sell. All right, that's all I have to say for today. If you're not in this trade, there's still plenty of meat left in this trade. Hopefully it's something that you can take advantage of. Thank you very much for coming by here. Please go down and click the like button. And we'll see you next time. 2 days left. Just 2 days. All right, folks. Take it easy. Bye.